And on this video, we're going to be going over the state of the 2021 New York Mets. Let's get into it. What's going on, Ledger Nation? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast on the Laracuente Ledger Network. And as I said in the open, today we will be discussing the state of the 2021 New York Mets. But before we get into it, if you haven't already done so, consider hitting that subscribe button down below, as we have a ton of new content coming in 2021. Plus, we've been dropping videos basically every day. So make sure you keep it locked in and hit that little bell so you're notified each and every time we upload a new video. So let's get into it. Now, to really understand the outlook of the 2021 New York Mets, we have to look back at this offseason. And there's no bigger move to discuss than the acquisition of Francisco Lindor. When Steve Cohen took over the ownership group of the New York Mets, he had to make a big splash to announce his arrival and say that this is going to be a new New York Mets franchise than what it previously was with the Wilpons. There's no bigger smash than bringing in a MLB superstar, Mr. Smiles himself, Francisco Lindor. But the deal didn't just stop there, as they would also bring in Carlos Carrasco. Now, Carrasco was going to be a very pivotal piece of that New York Mets rotation. Right now, he's going to be dealing with an injury, so he's not going to be ready for opening day. However, when he returns, this is going to make the Mets rotation even more formidable. Now, we'll get into the rotation in just a moment. But the Mets would continue their busy offseason with the acquisition of guys like James McCann, Albert Almora Jr., Kevin Pillar, and Jonathan Villar. When you look at what these guys possess, these are very key and pivotal role players for a growing and really dangerous New York Mets team. When you add in these guys and their versatility, this is where you get a significant upgrade to what the Mets previously had on their roster in 2020 and previous to that. James McCann is one of the most underrated catchers in the game, in my opinion, and the level of defensive ability that you get from Albert Almora Jr. is really going to help the New York Mets, as right now their outfield tends to look a little bit shaky when it comes to defense. But what you're getting from these four guys are going to be a very solid set of players behind your superstar players, your Michael Confortos, your Pete Alonsos, and of course your Francisco Lindors. The Mets would also continue adding to their pitching staff with the acquisitions of Taijuan Walker and Aaron Loup to help out the rotation and the bullpen respectively. These guys are going to be very important pieces, because when you look at what Walker means to the back end of the Mets rotation, this is going to be a very significant piece. And obviously he moves up a little bit because of the injury to Carrasco, but he's still going to be a solid back end of the rotation kind of guy. And with an offense like the Mets have, it's going to be a very interesting year in Queens. When it comes to Aaron Loup, he is going to be a key piece to this bullpen, as most of the big hitters inside of that National League East division, which is going to be extremely competitive, as I've said multiple times, is going to be very important and very key and pivotal, because those big bats, Juan Soto, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, all of those guys are going to be who Aaron Loup gets sent to take out. So this is going to be a very interesting year for the New York Mets. Now, as we jump into the state of the rotation of the Mets, obviously it begins with the best pitcher in the game, and that's Jacob deGrom. Following that, we should have had a guy like Carlos Carrasco. However, the Mets are still not going to be reeling after his loss. You have guys like Taijuan Walker and Marcus Stroman who are going to be able to slot in behind deGrom. And they're also going to have some young arms that are going to have a potential to unlock a little bit more of their progression behind these three big starters. How the rest of the rotation shakes out following the injury to Carrasco, we'll have to wait and see how it plays. But to me, this rotation, especially once Carrasco returns, is going to be a very good rotation. Is it going to be the most dominant? No. But they do have the most dominant pitcher at the head of it in Jacob deGrom. Now, as we look at the state of the bullpen for the New York Mets, this to me is one of the most intriguing spots about this team. When you look at the names that are part of this bullpen, there's a lot of potential here to be a very scary bullpen. However, there's also the potential with these same guys that they have very off nights. Dellin Betances, Miguel Castro, Jeurys Familia, all of these guys have the potential to lock down a game very, very quickly and very easily, but also the potential to lose the plate and become even more of a liability. So it's going to be very interesting to watch how these guys shake out in the Mets bullpen in 2021. As we get into the state of the offense, this is where the New York Mets are really going to shine. They're going to be able to bludgeon teams with a full-out offensive approach. Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Michael Conforto, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, all of these guys are really going to be able to come into their own and push forward this New York Mets team. Again, the National League East is going to be extremely competitive, and this offense is really going to keep the Mets at the head of that discussion for the best team in the NL East. Now, as we examine the state of the franchise for the New York Mets, again, they're going to be playing in a very, very competitive National League East division. They're going to be battling the Braves, the Nationals, the Phillies, and the Marlins all season long, in my opinion. When you look at what this offense provides, to me, this offense has the ability to be the best offense in the NL East. But it's going to be a full team assault in order to be able to claim the top spot in that division. We know that the Mets would love to be able to lock up Francisco Lindor and Michael Conforto long term, but both players are going to be really facing a deadline when it comes to those discussions at the time of this recording. Neither has decided to sign up long term, and it doesn't seem like it's close. But if the deadline of the opening day is not met by extension conversations, both of these players are likely to test free agency. However, that won't diminish their capabilities going into the 2021 season. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and we'll discuss how the Mets look, where they rank, and what has you most excited for the New York Mets 2021 season. Let me know those thoughts down in the comment section below, and we'll discuss it further. As always, if you haven't already done so, make sure you smash that like, subscribe, and bell to be notified every single time we drop new content here on the Laracuente Ledger Network. We will be finishing off our coverage on the states of franchises here this week, so make sure you keep it locked in by hitting that subscribe button. And as always, if you want to show even more support for the Laracuente Ledger Network, head over to patreon.com, search for the Laracuente Ledger Network, and join us there, as your support does a huge service for us and allows us to continue bringing this content each and every single week. If you haven't already done so, make sure you check out our sister channel, WeSibs, as they're providing amazing content as well. So I will catch you guys with the latest news, notes, or my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions have to be dropped about the game of Major League Baseball. Peace.